Good evening, everyone. I'm so grateful to have the opportunity to come on to share with you for just a few minutes, but most importantly, to remind you to go tell your story. The world is waiting to hear your story, and your story is going to make a difference. It's going to impact, it's going to touch, it's going to affect the life of another. Because so many times we take things for granted and think that this is not going to make a difference in anybody's life. But it's only in the end, or as the story unfolds, we realize that what we did really affected someone, and then we realize that it was worth the effort. So I just want to remind you that despite of how you may feel, and despite of the shame that you might feel, share your story to someone, because it's going to affect the life of someone. So I just wanted to share this book that I just finished reading. It is called I Am Number 8, and the author is John Gray. I actually heard about this book many years ago, back in 2017, and I kept saying I want to get this book, I want to read this book, and I never really went out and got it. Then someone gifted it to me, and I was like, oh my god. And it came just in the right season of my life where I needed to read the words that was written by Pastor John Gray, and it is very impactful and very powerful. So the name of the book is I Am Number 8 by John W. Gray III, and it's overlooked and undervalued but not forgotten by God. So I just want to share a little bit from the back of the book so you'll get an idea of what it is about. And here's what John Gray is saying. If God can take David, the invisible eighth son of a forgotten family, and turn him into a king, just imagine what magnificent plans the Almighty has for redeeming your life. David was born the eighth son in the family. He was a hidden gem, often overlooked and undervalued by everyone except God. God transformed him from the unknown son into the much honored king of Israel. David is an example of God working behind the scenes in order to produce greatness in you. To produce greatness out of you, Your day is coming. You may feel like the most invisible, broken person out there, but God sees your hidden value and is positioning you for better things. You, like David, are a number 8. David didn't know it, but his time as a simple shepherd with a dull future did not go unnoticed by God. David's story shows us that when God sends out an invitation to greatness, the divine directions doesn't always make sense to us. In David's darkest moments, God was cultivating the gifts, wisdom, and leadership he would need to become a king. So when you're an underdog in the eyes of the world, just know that God is working behind the scenes to develop you into a leader that will impact the world. I just want to encourage someone that you might feel you're an underdog. You might have been rejected and discarded by different groups of people. You might have been undervalued. You might have poured your everything into relationships, into jobs, into different environments, and you felt that it was not really appreciated, or it was not really, people just don't get what you bring to the table. And you might feel like your best efforts is not good enough, and you might feel like nobody notices, nobody gets you, nobody sees that there's something inside of you that's valuable. But even if you're overlooked, and even if you're undervalued in the eyes of men, God sees you and he values you. Always remember that David was the son in the backside of the field that nobody paid attention to, and nobody understood that he was the one, that God was brewing something on the inside of him, and God was anointing him to be the next king. But he didn't look like the next king. Nothing in his past or nothing in his life made him look like a king in the eyes of those around him. but God was working on the inside of him. And right now, I want to tell you that God is working on the inside of you, and the things that you're doing in secret, the way that you're honoring him in secret, the way that you're worshiping him in secret, the things that you're doing that you feel like it's just going by unnoticed, God sees. God sees you. He sees your sacrifice. He sees everything that you pour out, and in due season, your due season is soon to come, and God will honor you in public, just like he honored David in public. And I just want to remind you that in spite of how you feel, keep on keeping on, because God sees you. You are number 8. You are a number 8. And most number 8s doesn't feel like number 8, because they feel like they've been in environments that made them feel rejected for so long, they don't believe that they're anything. But I want to remind you that God sees you. God sees you. So get this book, I Am Number 8 by John W. Gray III. Overlooked and undervalued, but not forgotten by God. Remember, you are not forgotten by God. God sees you, and your story is important, so go tell your story. The world is waiting to hear your story. Have an awesome, awesome week. Bye.